Today is 18 October 2018. Market trade a tight range today. In the afternoon, managed to recover some losses and trade off low, down 1.4 point to close at 3069. Now after this gap downs, market is actually stuck in the trading range. If it continue like this will be a sign of weakness, because this will then be a pause before further downward move. Immediate resistance is at 3100, and we also have another resistance at 3130, which happens to be the gap. Support is at 3000. So these are the areas we like to watch. Now let's take a look at the strong stock. Mentioned over the last few videos that Yang Zijiang perhaps has the best patterns, and the stock managed to actually take out the high of 130 yesterday, and today we have a very nice follow through, and also managed to take out 134, which happens to be a high volume area. It actually matched high at 137. The last trade was actually 135. So if you have missed the trade, look for pullback and look for new setups to go long. Now also mentioned StarHubs as one of the stronger stocks. Notice after the gap down, it closed the gap almost immediately, and right now trade a wide range bar. Like to see take out this high here of 198. Similarly for Bears World, this stock actually suffered a deeper corrections, but again the gap was covered quite quickly, and right now challenging this high here. In fact, today itself it managed to trade a high of 152 with very high volume, so I'd like to actually look for the stock to actually take out the high of 152. Citinion stock again managed to recover this gap here and now racing towards this resistance at 124. So you'd like to see take out 124 and eventually challenge 126. Notice the last 2 days of pullback volume actually is low, though that is healthy. A less discussed stocks, United Engineer. This stock has low liquidity though, so we just have to be careful if you trade these stocks, take a smaller position. Stock actually run up and been trading sideways despite the severe market corrections. So I'd like to see take out this high here of 270. Jaffa. Now Jaffa was a strong stock that actually turned weak. If you notice that we're actually trading successive lower high, and right now here we are challenging this downward trend line. Notice we have a gap here, so there is some strength, and the last 2 bar has higher volume. Now you may well take out this resistance. We like to see how we actually turn up. However, if there are sign of weakness, we can actually take the opportunity to actually short a lower high. Let's turn our attention to the bank, DBS. After the get downs to the support, stock actually trades sideways. So this reaction is actually quite mild. Alright, so again we need patience, wait for it to complete and eventually break this low here of 2412. OCBC. OCBC have similar patterns. After the gap down, it's actually stuck in the trend range. However, the range is slightly bigger compared to DBS. Again, we'd like to actually wait it out and eventually break this low here of 1055. Now, UOB appeared to have stronger reactions compared to the other two banks. You notice after the gap down, stock yesterday actually gap up but didn't close well. And today we have a pullback, but the pullback volume is low. So that indicates some strength. So there could be further upward move. However, taking a look at the bigger picture, the stocks itself actually is part of a big consolidation pattern, or rather big distribution patterns, and it broke the support. And this is the throwback. Alright, so again, we have to actually wait out and wait for the momentums to be reduced, and when they actually exhibit weakness on the downside, we can initiate short. But it's just that our short term, there could be further upward move. Mentioned in the previous videos that the weak sector is actually properties, and some of these properties has very nice pattern on the downside. Right, this is CityDev, and we have a throwback, and this throwback challenged this gap. If you noticed yesterday itself, they will attempt to close this gap but close off high. Today the stock actually gap downs, and however late afternoon managed to recover some lost ground. Again, we'd like to see how it turned out. If it trades sideways, that will be a generally good sign. There could be further downside. UOL appear to be holding well. After the gap downs, stock actually stuck in the trading range, but today notice it managed to trade off low, and this support here appeared to be quite significant, which is at 616. Alright, so this area I like to watch. This gap here will offer some kind of resistance. Capital N. Again, if you notice, actually this low here of 306 is a significant area I like to actually look. It tested on several occasions, managed to trade off this level. So again, I noticed actually recently it traded quite a large range, so it appeared to be more choppy for these stocks. Again, we like to see how it actually turn out. If it is quiet down with low volatility, that will be a sign of weakness, and we like to see break on the downside, right below this low here of 306. Manufacturing stock, this is high PE, this is weak. Notice the double gap here, and right now here stuck in the trading range. Look for a break below this low here of 82 cents. UMS appear to be slightly stronger compared to high P. Notice a strong throwback. Again, wait for it to complete its throwback. So far the throwback volume is not impressive, and currently we have a big dipper set up. Look for a break below this low here of 675. Notice actually the moving average are not quite in order. You see the crisscrossing of the moving average, so it's actually trading within a channel. Venture. Again, it gapped down here and stuck in the trading range. We like to wait for it to complete its consolidations and break on the downside. Mentioned AEM is a stock probably we'd like to watch, but not for short, because unlike the other manufacturing stock, this stock actually held up well and stuck in the trading range. Of course, this could be fueled by a recent news of some tied up with Huawei, so that could resulted in some strength in the stocks. So we like to see a break on the upside rather for these stocks, and see whether you can take out this high here, the recent high here of 855. That will augur well for the stocks. Now remember, this is actually on a long-term basis, it's actually weak. It's just that on a short term it appeared to have some strength. This is a weekly chart of AEM, so you notice actually it's not impressive, so we've got to be very careful. So going forward, markets are likely to be volatile. Having seen some wild swing in Wall Street, so likely to influence our local markets, and likewise regional markets like Hong Kong, China are not very strong, so it can influence us as well. So we got to be more selective and trade the very obvious one, right, like Yangzijiang, Best World, StarHub, and at the same time look for opportunity to actually identify setup for short.